On our planet Earth, there are some incredible artifacts and ruins that date back to ancient civilizations. Whether it's due to their sheer size, the sheer weight, or the sheer complexity, these structures seem to defy the engineering feats of the time. The genesis of the pyramids and the construction techniques used to develop them are the best examples of these mysteries. Many wise individuals throughout history have puzzled about and sought answers to the question, how were the pyramids built? Now, Elon Musk has suggested a fascinating and convoluted theory to explain the construction of the pyramids. This explanation defies everything we know about how pyramids were built. What's more intriguing is that Elon's theory involves the participation of alien life in this process, and he offers convincing evidence in support of this idea. Let's talk more about it in today's video. There are more than 100 pyramids in Egypt, and the Great Pyramids of Giza are often considered to be among the greatest architectural achievements in human history. However, the reason why these structures were built after approximately 4,500 years of existence is still unknown. It is possible to learn more about the inspiration behind such landmark structures from ancient Egyptian literature. As far as we can tell, these gigantic structures made of limestone or mud brick are among the oldest human habitations on the planet. You probably remember learning about the Egyptian pyramids at some point in elementary school. These mammoths of structures are hard to escape, as they're famous for being majestic, for putting it lightly. When it was first built, the Great Pyramid of Giza was 481 feet tall. However, vandalism and erosion have reduced its height to just 451 feet. To put this in perspective, the typical height of a three-story building is 45 feet. If our calculations are true, this pyramid would have been as tall as a 32-story structure. Who then is responsible for building these enormous pyramids, which have remained hidden and enigmatic for centuries? How did they build it exactly? Well, Elon Musk has a theory for that. It's no secret that Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, has been using his Twitter account for chaotic evil and pure fun. For instance, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX shaved $14 billion off Tesla's worth after tweeting, "Tesla stock price too high, IMO." Similarly, after the World Health Organization labeled COVID-19 a pandemic, he took to Twitter to tell his followers that they were overreacting to a fake virus. Now he's inviting conspiracy theorists to his Twitter feed with a provocative statement like, "Aliens constructed the pyramids, duh." Musk then tweeted the truth, linking to Wikipedia to back up his claim that, quote, "The Great Pyramid was the tallest structure created by humanity for 3,800 years, which was plainly a joke but was taken seriously by some of his supporters. It's puzzling that someone who has recently made groundbreaking scientific progress would go looking for conspiracy theorists to bait online in the first place. Musk's tweets were probably meant to be humorous, but they did get a response from Egypt's Minister of International Cooperation, Rania al-Mashat, who urged Musk to visit Egypt to view the pyramids for himself and find out how they were actually constructed. So, who built the pyramids, and why is there so much controversy surrounding their construction? The story of the pyramids. The three enormous pyramids of Giza, outside of Cairo, were built during the 4th dynasty by Kings Khufu, his son, and his grandson. The largest of the ancient 7 wonders of the world, the Great Pyramid of Giza, was built by Khufu. Nearly 2.3 million stone blocks were used in the construction of the Great Pyramid, which reached a height of about 50 stories when finished. Its base is nearly square and level, with sides that point in each of the 4 cardinal directions. The Great Pyramid's outer casing was originally crafted from polished, pale limestone. Finer limestone was worn and shifted away over time, but it's possible that some of the original material still exists in the cave's inner tunnels. It's believed that around 20,000 workers, including stonemasons, bakers, carpenters, and water carriers, worked on the pyramid over the course of 20 years. Although the Egyptians' actual construction method is unknown, it is widely believed that they employed a ring of sand, brick, and mud that grew taller as the pyramid did. Khufu's mummy wasn't the only thing buried inside the pyramid. The interior rooms also held other items for the afterlife. Many of the priceless objects from the pyramids had already been stolen by the time modern archaeologists began studying them in the 17th century. King Khafre, Khufu's grandson, commissioned the Great Sphinx to be sculpted from a single block of limestone that had been set aside from the quarry where the pyramids had been built. The Sphinx is a statue constructed in Khafre's honor. It has the body of a lion and the face of a human. There doesn't seem to be any secret passages or chambers inside. Construction of the pyramids. The method used to construct the Egyptian pyramids have been the subject of much debate among historians and scientists for decades, if not centuries. There are several competing ideas on how the pyramids were built. The standard theory postulates that gigantic stones were hewn from their quarry locations using copper chisels. The blocks were lifted and dragged to their final destination. However, there is significant contention over the best way to move and set up these monuments. Without a shadow of a doubt, the management and organization of the staff were superb. The widespread belief that slaves forced into service by dictators built the pyramids at Giza persists because it defies common sense that anybody would voluntarily undertake the kind of effort necessary to erect such massive structures. Site of construction. The first step in building a pyramid was finding an appropriate site. The western bank of the Nile was chosen because ancient Egyptians believed the setting sun marked the beginning of the afterlife. The pyramids are all situated on a slight incline. The area that was leveled and turned into steps was quite modest and encircled. Holes are slashed into the soil at regular intervals around the platform's perimeter. Mark Lenner, a seasoned and insightful archaeologist, proposes that they used wooden alignment poles. No designs for the pyramid's construction have ever been found, despite the fact that they were not built at random and had very precise dimensions. They were constructed to last, using durable materials like stone for the majority of the structure, limestone for the pyramid's foundations, and white limestone for the outside and interior walls. The pink granite that was utilized for the walls and floors were either basalt or alabaster. There was never a scarcity of stone in Egypt, which is why that country is frequently called the State of the Stone. The Fayum Depression, one of the Western Desert's great oases, supplied some of the basalt they utilized, while the city of Luxor on the Nile's eastern bank supplied the alabaster. Consulting archaeologist Dennis Stocks estimated in 2003's Experiments in Egyptian Archaeology, Stoneworking Technology in Ancient Egypt, that it took 45 individuals to carry a 35,900 pound, that's 16.3 tons by the way, stone, and just 8 persons to lift a 6,060 pound block. Herodotus, a Greek historian, is primarily to blame for perpetuating the myth that the pyramids were constructed by slaves working under the orders of an evil pharaoh. He claimed that 100,000 slaves worked incessantly and were relieved every 3 months by a new gang to construct the Great Pyramid. It is further argued by the BBC that King Khufu, the 4th dynasty pharaoh of Egypt, who is credited with building the Great Pyramid of Giza, could not have had such a great number of slaves, nor could they have all worked at the same time. Pyramids construction theories. Many explanations have been proposed to explain the construction of the pyramid. No one knows for sure how the pyramid was constructed. John Romer claims that they used the same method of laying out planned sections on the ground at a 1-to-1 scale, as was done with the earlier and later buildings. To paraphrase, such a working diagram would also help to generate the design of the pyramid, with precision unequaled by any other technique. Basalt blocks clearly demonstrate that the pyramid temple was built with a saw, with a blade around 15 feet or 4.6 meters in length, were employed in the project, possibly weighing up to 140 kilograms, as proposed by Romer. This mega saw may have featured copper teeth. He theorizes that the blocks were cut with a saw supported by a wooden trestle and lubricated with vegetable oil, cutting sand, emery, or pounded quartz. At least a dozen men would have had to work together to run the saw. Therefore, some people think the ancient Egyptians and the Peruvians who built the Nazca lines and other comparable constructions used an alien instruction manual. These structures may have been built by hands from another dimension. Or, as new evidence suggests, they may have resorted to building along the Nile. Let's sneak a look at that from a distance. A long-held notion about how the ancient Egyptians constructed the enormous pyramids at Giza is supported by recent discoveries concerning the Nile. The researchers concluded that the pyramid builders likely made use of a now-defunct arm of the river to transport building materials and equipment. This was reported in a paper published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Evidence from their study indicates that the Giza pyramid complex could have been constructed around 4,500 years ago, when rainfall was heavier and floodwaters were more widespread. It was impossible to create the pyramids here without this branch of the Nile, research author and geographer Haider Sheesh reportedly told the New York Times. Experts have long theorized that the ancient Egyptians must have exploited redirected parts of the Nile to get the huge quantities of limestone and granite required to create these monuments. The current location of the Nile and its tributaries is too distant from the pyramids for its water supply to be of any service. This proposal, also called the fluvial port complex idea, proposes that along the western edge of the Nile's floodplain, ancient Egyptian engineers cut basins into the riverbed and constructed a little canal across from the pyramid site to the Nile's Khufu branch. Researchers discovered that the annual floodwaters might be used like a hydraulic lift to bring massive chunks of stone to the construction site. Researchers believe that prior to this, a clear image of which landscapes were at issue had escaped investigators. Using a variety of techniques, the research team recreated the ancient Nile floodplain and found that the now dry Khufu branch of the Nile might have been used by Egyptian engineers to convey building materials to the Giza pyramid site. In the past, experts had speculated that Egyptians might have used water transport to transport the stones to the site. Evidence that the Egyptians knew how to transport the blocks down rivers comes from a 2013 find that uncovered an ancient harbor near the Red Sea where the stones were loaded. Previous excavations have shown that a dock was constructed nearby to the pyramids and that sophisticated canal systems were excavated in the area. Experts excavated excavations in the desert around the pyramids in search of ancient pollen from aquatic plants like papyrus and cattails to determine if the Nile took a different course at the time. For sure, the ancient Khufu branch of the Nile was deep enough for skilled builders to move massive stone blocks and erect the magnificent pyramids we see today. That pretty much wraps this video up, guys. Thanks for watching. So, what are your thoughts about the mysteries shrouding the Great Pyramids of Egypt? Share with us in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to this channel with a bell notification if you enjoy watching our content. We upload some awesome stuff here which you will most certainly enjoy. Hit a like on this video and leave a comment below. See you guys in the next one. You guys